Hi, my name is Brandon, and I'm an alcoholic and addict in recovery. Today, in This Naked Mind by Annie Grace, I read a paragraph that is a great summary of some of the great benefits and rewards of being in recovery and of living a sober life for those of us who have come to rely on alcohol and drugs to relieve stress in our lives, to try to fill some of the spiritual holes in our lives. This paragraph really encapsulates some of the great rewards that I have certainly found in recovery and that I know many others have found as well. She says, "These days I have so much energy, it's incredible. It took time to regain my energy, but over time I healed from years of drinking poison. When you are physically strong, you feel on top of the world. You are present to fully enjoy the great moments in life. I handle stress better too. Before, my stressors multiplied because instead of dealing with my problems, I ignored them by drinking. When left unattended, they grew inexplicably large. Without drinking, I can mindfully manage them. In fact, my ability to handle the things I once drank to ignore can be empowering. I don't mean to say I never have hard days, of course I do, but when you are healthy and happy, everything becomes easier." So, taking this from the beginning, first, the physical strength aspect of this. For those of us who, and this doesn't apply just to drinking, this applies to a lot of other drugs as well. For those of us who come from a background of substance abuse and chronic substance abuse, more than likely we have ignored our body's health in some way. Whether it's not getting the regular exercise we need, whether it's eating poorly, whether it's not eating at all, or eating in excess, or eating the wrong things. All of these factors contribute to the sick nature that our bodies usually are when we arrive at the doors of recovery. I know for me in particular, I was eating very poorly when I came into recovery. I was eating primarily for comfort rather than for nutrition. And I also was not exercising at all, so I was not getting out and trying to get any kind of exercise, in part because I felt that I didn't have the time to do so. And so in recovery, I learned the importance of eating well, the importance of regular exercise. And as time has gone on in recovery, I've actually gone back to a point in my life where I've actually exceeded some of the things that I was able to do in the past. I have never, in the past, I had never been able to run more than a 5K, and now I'm running 10Ks. And that feels fantastic to be that physically fit. But I never could have done that when I was drinking, when I was using drugs. I never could have done that. So that aspect of things feels great. Being able to walk up the stairs without getting winded, that feels great. And those are things that came with recovery. Those are things that I didn't find when I was using. The next thing she says is you are present to fully enjoy the great moments in life. This is something that came up at a meeting that I was in last night. My ability to drop into the moment and to be in the moment has increased 1,000 times since I came into recovery. In the past, when I was using, my mind was constantly drifting to thoughts of the future, constantly dwelling on events of the past that I couldn't do anything about. And it was so difficult for me to be in the present moment and to think about what was happening in the present moment and just be a part of it. Usually I was thinking about what was going to happen in the future, and usually I was dwelling and obsessing on it in a negative way. I wasn't thinking about the positive things that were going to happen. I was thinking about all the bad things that were going to happen. And now in recovery, I find myself much more often just being in the present moment, not worrying about the future and not thinking about what happened in the past. Because if something happens in the past that needs to be addressed, I work a program of recovery where I address that immediately and then move on. And as far as the future is concerned, the program of recovery that I work teaches that really all you need to focus on is doing the next right thing. And then part of the joy of life is seeing what happens after that. And so as long as I observe those tenets of the program that I'm following, then I can really be in the present moment. And that's one of the big rewards of recovery. Finally, this is a big one for me. She says, I handle stress better too. Before, my stressors multiplied because instead of dealing with my problems, I ignored them by drinking. This was huge for me. In my substance use, I did not deal with stress. The way that I dealt with stress was to use, whether it was smoking pot, whether it was taking anxiety pills, whether it was drinking, whether it was smoking cigarettes. I used some kind of drug in order to feel relief from stress. And at the meeting that I was at last night, I argued that what I really was feeling was not relief. That was an illusion that was caused by the drugs. What I really was feeling was distracted from the stress. Relief from stress looks like this. I feel stressed from a day at work, so I do everything that I can about whatever I need to do at work, and then to help relieve that stress, I go for a jog. After my jog, I've calmed down some. That's what relief from stress feels like. When I used to drink my face off at the end of a hard day in order to feel relief from stress, that was a distraction. And I would acknowledge it then. I would acknowledge that I was getting drunk so that I could stop thinking about what happened during the day. And it's better to be in a position where you're just not thinking about what happened during the day. You've done what you can about it, and then you move on. That's what being sober and being in a program of recovery has taught and allows me to do, is be in the present moment. And when I face those stressful situations, deal with them in ways that are not just distractions. Deal with them in ways that actually help me address the stress, that actually help me address the situations causing the stress, and then that provide some healthful and healthy relief to that stress. Once I'm able to do that, this last thing that she says really often happens. In fact, my ability to handle the things I once drank to ignore can be empowering. And that has been one of the greatest rewards of recovery, is that when I have a hard day, when I go out for a jog and come back and feel better, I feel empowered. I feel like I have some kind of, not control, but some kind of influence over the world around me rather than being a victim of the world around me. And I feel like there are things I can do to bring good into the world, whether it's good into my own experience of life when I'm feeling stressful, or good into someone else's experience of life. For example, reaching out to someone who I know has been having a rough time and seeing how they're doing. Those are the kinds of things that I can do that then empower me to go on to the next day and give me the strength to deal with stressful situations rather than what I used to be like, which was really running from them and using alcohol and drugs to help distract me from the pain that they caused. So I really like this paragraph. It sums up a lot of the key components of my own recovery and why it's been such a blessing in my life. I think that it's a good summary of some of the most important aspects of what you should look for in healthy recovery, because at the end of the day, recovery is supposed to be a happy time in your life. Recovery is supposed to be the kind of thing, and I shouldn't say happy. Recovery is supposed to be something that allows you to experience life at a level that you couldn't experience it during your drug and alcohol addiction. And if it's not doing that, then there may be some other aspects of it you should explore to see if you can enhance it in some way. That's it for today. I'll be back here tomorrow with more. Have a good one.